because the opposite has just happened to us. And a video of us at the Knesset meeting the Deputy Foreign Minister has been posted on Instagram. We understand certainly we had no knowledge that it was being videoed and assumed, of course, that it would never happen. And I have to say, I've just found out about it. And to say that I'm cross might be an understatement.
Now, something extraordinary has happened. Remember Emily Thornbury, the Labour MP, who also heads the powerful Select Committee on Foreign Affairs? She has now gone public, claiming that she was insulted by an Israeli minister during her recent trip to the settler colony built on the stolen land of Palestine. Now, this is quite extraordinary in so many ways. I bet you wouldn't see the coverage of this development on compromised media outlets such as the BBC and others. Emily Thornbury-led Foreign Affairs Select Committee was grilling the Middle East minister from her own party on a range of issues from the region. But she was so angry, so incensed, that she decided to share her anger with the junior minister from her own party even before she could start the proceedings. According to her, when she met the Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister, her name is Sharon Haskell, in the Israeli Knesset, she was spoken to in a rude and insulting manner. Worse, she didn't realize that she was being secretly filmed and her ill treatment was secretly being recorded, as Sharon Haskell later shared the video on her Instagram page. Watch what Emily Thornbury had to say in Parliament today.
And we are continuing our inquiry into the Middle East. We have great pleasure of the Middle East Minister in front of us today, and Stephen Hickey, who is the Director of Middle East and North Africa at FCDO. Thank you so much for coming in. You probably know that we have ourselves just come back from the region, where we had a series of meetings. We went to Saudi Arabia, to Jordan, to the West Bank, and to Israel. And this is a subject that is of huge interest to us and to our constituents. So it's fantastic to have the opportunity to speak to you today, Minister. Can I just begin, if you don't mind, just clearing up something which arose from our trip, just to get it out of the way? Would you expect, Minister, if there was a visiting delegation of members of Parliament to the House of Commons, for the delegation to be videoed without their knowledge or consent?
If someone was visiting the House of Commons?
Yes.
Certainly not. I was thinking that'd be very unusual.
Or for it to be put onto Instagram and indeed briefed to, let's say, the Daily Telegraph in disparaging terms?
I'm not familiar with the details, but clearly if someone was visiting the House of Commons, we'd want to show them
And it would be
courtesy.
particularly bad, wouldn't it, if it was the Deputy Foreign Minister of Israel who would be videoed in the UK, and for disparaging comments to be made about her evidence or her private meeting that she'd had, let's say, with us. Because the opposite has just happened to us. And a video of us at the Knesset meeting the Deputy Foreign Minister has been posted on Instagram. We understand certainly we had no knowledge that it was being videoed and assumed, of course, that it would never happen. And I have to say, I've just found out about it. And to say that I'm cross might be an understatement. There were many things said in the Knesset by many members of the Knesset that we found quite provocative and indeed, if I'm really honest, quite insulting. And the attitude of some of the members of the Knesset were remarkably rude. And we did our utmost to keep decorum at all times and to remain polite and restrained. But I do think this takes it to another level. And I would ask the Foreign Office to investigate this, please, and to find out why this has happened, who made the decision, and to ask them to take it down and to apologise.
Chair, thank you for bringing it to my attention. It's obviously the first I've heard about it. I'll look into it and come back to the committee.
Thank you very much. Right, having got that off my chest.
The clip in question is this, which now appears to have been deleted by the Israeli minister.
What happens if there's elections tomorrow at the West Bank? Did you go there to talk to them? Why hasn't been election there?
Well, I can give you the answers. The first is obviously that when there was an election and Hamas was elected and there was a rejection of that by the international community. Secondly, when there was a suggested election, there was a disagreement with Israel as to whether or not the people of East Jerusalem could vote.
The fact is that there's no elections because the day after Hamas is going to take control. And if we agree in any way to a two-state solution, or the Palestinian Authority is going to control Gaza, it's going to be at the hands of Hamas again. So the fact is that you're asking me to give Gaza again to Hamas. And that's when people come and tell us, you need to do the two-state solution now. For us, it means, in reality, you give it to Hamas back. And that's something that we cannot accept.
Although Emily Thornbury demanded an apology and an inquiry by the Foreign Office, I don't think she is going to get one. I hope she realizes now how stupid it was on her part to have sided with these bloodthirsty monsters and defended their genocidal campaign. Remember how she had arrogantly defended Israel's genocidal campaign in the immediate aftermath of the 7th of October 2023?
Pause there, if I may. Do you think cutting off food, water and electricity is within international law?
I think that Israel has an absolute right to defend itself against terrorism.
That's not the question I asked.
It is an answer to the question that you've asked, and I think it's an appropriate one at this time.
When you watch the now deleted video, this gives you a clear sense as to who the boss really is. The Israeli minister's tone and body language clearly showed that they have utter disgust for the chair of the British Parliament's Select Committee on Foreign Affairs. This despite the fact that the same British government has been diligently supplying arms and other diplomatic support to Israel to avoid global isolation. If this was any other country, trust me, the entire British media and political class cutting across ideology would have demanded strict action against that country for ill-treating a senior politician from the ruling party in the UK, secretly filming her agony without consent and then posting the video on a social media platform. But this is Israel, which now completely controls the British politics in a way never seen before. Not too long ago, in fact only a few days ago, Israeli lobby groups intervened in the UK to persuade the Royal Television Society to cancel an award category to recognize Palestinian journalists in Gaza. This is their power now. They can do anything. They can cancel anybody in any field. And we are not talking about the US. This is the United Kingdom. Israel now has politicians from two countries completely in its pocket. The US and the UK. Don't tell me you are not warned. Now deal with it. What did you expect when you sided with medieval barbarians, genocidal maniacs and cold-blooded savages? Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.